So it was Apple's WWDC Worldwide Developer Conference yesterday. They announced lots of AI things as expected, and this video is all about seeing what they announced and what this means for Microsoft for the future of work in 2024 and beyond. I'm Gavin Jones, founder and director at MeTime, where we help organizations be more efficient, helping people with well-being and increasing sales. If you're interested in finding out how your organization can work in a more modern way, happening to use Microsoft 365 because you already pay for it, book a call using the link in the description below. Got new videos on Microsoft at Work coming out at least every week, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified every time one of those comes out. So I like to help normal people doing normal jobs get the most out of their technology, because they're usually not. There's usually way better ways of doing something that people are already doing, either by just completely changing the process or by using technology that you're already paying for to do it better. So I always try to keep up with all the latest trends going on in every ecosystem. All my hardware is Apple, so I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy. Everything in the house is made by Apple, apart from the TV, only because Apple don't make TVs and washing machines and stuff like that. But everything Apple, all the stuff I do for work is Microsoft, because pragmatically, sometimes Microsoft ecosystem is the best thing to do for work. If you're in a corporate job, in a normal job that I was for 15 years, you're pretty much not going to have the opportunity to use Apple Macs, I would say. You might have some pockets of iPhones and iPads potentially, but predominantly the business world is on Microsoft, and therefore you've got to fall in line with whatever your work's doing, and that is usually good enough to get everything you need to do to get done. What I'm interested in, though, for this video is all the AI developments. So very recently we've had Google's I.O., where they announced all the Google sort of AI stuff, Microsoft Build, where they announced all Microsoft's latest AI things and Copilot, and now Apple's developer conference yesterday, where they announced their foray into AI. And as a usual general rule of thumb, Apple is never first to market with stuff. They wait and see an opportunity, and when they release it, it's going to work. One, which isn't the case for some of Microsoft's offerings. It's going to work, and because they make so much margin on their hardware, they've got the ability to sort of bucket some things up for free, which is interesting. So let's just quickly go through what they announced and then sort of compare that to how Microsoft works. So one, I guess when Apple announces it, it's integrated throughout all of their ecosystem. So whether you've got an iPad, iPhone, Apple TV, HomePods, AirPods, Mac, whatever, everything sort of works together, which contrasts to Microsoft, where it seems like they're just copying and borrowing bits of other people's apps and never really think about how it fits together. And that's really important when it comes to AI. So in no particular order, or chronological order, first thing that they announced was Scratch Math on an iPad, where you can get the benefit of your handwriting, and as soon as you put an equals sign in, it gives you the answer. So whether you do that in the calculator app or in Notes, it does automatic calculations for you. It can obviously do very simple ones, like if you've got just a sum of a little list of you've written down, or it can help with actually trigonometry and bigger equations. It can draw graphs for you just from your handwriting. So all that sort of imperceivable AI, I would say, it just seems to work, which is what Apple's kind of good at. Microsoft have not announced anything that's similar to that in OneNote, for example, and OpenAI have showed something in ChatGPT 4.0 where you can see your screen and you're just talking through what it can see, which is obviously a lot more powerful. But I guess Apple's bringing this into the mainstream. But all these things could start taking away from Microsoft's paid Copilot, Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, as they snappily title it. It's an extra £30 a month on top of your license fee, where Copilot's in all of Microsoft's 365 apps. There's also Microsoft Copilot on its own, not Microsoft 365, where it's using more like the ChatGPT model, where it's just going out to the web, getting some information, and bringing it back to you. It's not searching your own files and things, which is important as we come on to some of these other things. So I guess the main thing about Microsoft Copilot and ecosystem is that Microsoft have got a massive deal with OpenAI. They've invested like $10 billion into OpenAI. They get all the latest models, I think, as part of their deal. But what Apple announced is that they're also partnering with OpenAI to use ChatGPT, the latest model. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two work when they're both using the same thing. But I guess what Apple is mostly interested in, which is their sort of what they mentioned in their keynote, was that they want it to be, it needs to be powerful enough to actually be useful, it needs to be intuitive so you can use it needs to be integrated into their ecosystem, and it needs to be personal and private. And I'm not sure that Microsoft Copilot is all of those 5 things all of the time. So sometimes it's not very powerful, it takes ages to return something back. Since they launched it, when they get onto ChatGPT 4.0, hopefully that's going to speed up, but that's not out yet. Intuitive is like, well, Microsoft have tried to help with prompts and things, but really it's still just OpenAI, ChatGPT bolted onto the side of an app rather than it being fully integrated, like working with the app that well. Obviously, it can create slides for you, it can create text for you, but it's really creating text. It's really creating text and pictures rather than be able to go into an app and do something like from a title bar, which is what Apple have showed with the new Siri. So if you say, can you go and jazz up the photo that I took yesterday, it is hopefully, which we've not seen it working in a live demo yet, going to go and find that picture, put it into the Photos app, and then go and click on, make this photo better button, and do all that for you. So it's like integrated in that regard in Apple's ecosystem, where it can actually go and do stuff for you. Microsoft's Copilot can't really do that right now. And just some of the things where they overlap, like AI is great for giving summaries. So I always say in Copilot land, Microsoft's best offering is just being able to summarize Teams meetings. That is worth the money alone. Said it in a lot of videos, say it again, even if Microsoft make nothing else better, for me at least, it's still worth $30 a month to transcribe those calls, because it saves me so much time when I'm chatting to people that need some help and I need to summarize it and do a proposal. Just having that transcript, an AI summary, and be able to say, oh, can you rewrite this into XYZ? Can you summarize it into bullets? That's really useful. But Microsoft have missed one step that Apple have really got, which is like, I don't want to see things that aren't summarized where summarizing them would be better. So in notifications in Apple, if it's a text message or Slack in this instance, but it could be Teams, it's going to summarize what that message is on the front of the notification, because there's not much space you can take up in the notification. So someone started with something really long like, hi, Gav, how are you doing? Hope you're well. What's going on today? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, I've got this really urgent thing that I need you to do by tomorrow. The notifications in Apple are just going to pull out what you need to do this by tomorrow in the notification. So it's using AI that are making it a bit more useful. Whereas like an Apple shares a similar thing in Mail, which you can link if you've got a Mac or an iPad or an iPhone, you can link your Microsoft Mail account to use Apple's Mail app, and it's got some of the same things in that you have to pay for in Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is going to be interesting. So it's going to be great for me because all my hardware's Apple, so I'm going to get that for free. But you could then, if you're in a corporate environment, jump off your Windows PC onto an iPad or iPhone to do some of these things, and then send your email that way. So some of the things that you've seen in Outlook from Copilot for Microsoft 365, where it can summarize an email for you, I guess that's good, but you have to click on the email, then you get a Copilot bar at the top, and then you have to click summarize. Then it goes away because you have to send it to the cloud, think about it, and then rewrite it. And by the time you've done that, I don't get that many long emails, to be honest. If you've got a culture that you're trying to cultivate in an organization, you can sort of have that agreement between people, say, look, don't send me a long email. In my corporate job, I used to have a little footer that says 5 sentences and a link to like a manifesto of like never send an email more than 5 sentences. Now I've started using smart brevity and bottom line up front. So like just tell me what the thing of the email is and put that at the top of the email, and then do some bullet points about all the other things you want to get across in the email. So they're already written quite well anyway, and using AI it's probably not that useful. But having in Apple's Mail, it's summarizing the email on the preview. So rather than just giving the first couple of lines of the email, same as in notification, it's summarizing what that email's about and putting that as the preview, so you can really get a quick gist just as you look down your inbox what all those emails are about. And Microsoft could have done that because they have got the same AI that Apple are using, presumably, but they chose not to. But I guess that would mean sending every single email up to the cloud, but they're already in Microsoft's cloud anyway. I guess the benefit of Apple is they're always trying to be private first, so they're trying to do as much on the device as possible. But what really annoys me is Microsoft talking about the cloud and the edge. Like, I'm the edge of their network. My devices to them are just like the edge of whatever else they've got going on. Whereas Apple, it's like, it's your personal device with your personal information on. That's the most important thing to you. It's really important, one, that we keep that private, and two, that we ground AI in whatever you're doing. Now, Microsoft could have done that with Microsoft 365 because it's got access to everything at work, but the implementation is probably, certainly in the moment, not living up to expectations because it doesn't really go and find and do stuff that you expect it to do. And I guess there's no voice assistant, so I don't use Cortana in Windows. I don't know if that's even still around. I don't know anyone else that uses that at work, like speaking to their PC, but I do speak to Siri a lot. And so I guess they showed an example of, like, you get an email saying we've moved our meeting, and you just say to Siri, look, can I still make my kids play? It goes to find the message and the picture of the play to understand where it is and what time it's on. It looks in your calendar to see when that meeting's been moved to, and then goes to Maps to say, look, can you get that on time given the traffic at the time that's on? That is actually intelligent and useful, and something that Microsoft don't do across their apps that well. It's still like text and inputs, and a bit more pointed. You have to, like, say, go to file. So again, if you want to see some demos, this other video I made looking at Microsoft demos and trying them in real life as soon as Copilot came out, which sometimes didn't live up to expectations. One of the ones was where you can create a presentation from a Word document, but you have to tell it, like, which Word document to use. At the time, you couldn't say, well, here's, get my Teams meeting and create a proposal just from that Teams meeting. You can't. There's no way to just type that and it understands what's going on and go to the right app and sort it out. It just doesn't do that. You've got to go to Word. You've probably got to go to Teams, copy the transcript, put it in, summarize it. And it's each individual step rather than, like, really trying to help you out, which are all obviously going to get better. But Apple seems to have got a better gist of what is useful to people. In fact, they had, funnily enough, a tagline of AI for the rest of us, because it does feel like there's loads of big tech companies racing to do AI without really thinking, is it useful? Does it work? So that's in Microsoft's camp. So when you watched Google's one, it's like they're announcing loads of stuff like, oh, Apple's, Microsoft have been doing this for a year, and you're only just coming out with it. And then you think, well, actually, Microsoft's one is out, but it doesn't actually do what they said it did. If Google's one just does what they said it did, then it will be better. OpenAI was in the middle, showing revolutionary things where AI can see what you're seeing through your camera, speak to it really naturally. And then Apple sort of come later and said, look, of all the stuff that's come out, here's how to make that useful, which I think is quite good. It's all private, so it's on device. And only when it goes out to the cloud, where it thinks it might be more useful to go to OpenAI, it's going to specifically ask you, look, do you mind me sending your picture to OpenAI? Do you mind me sending this text to OpenAI? There's going to be a lot more stuff that you can do on Siri. I guess that everyone moans about Siri, that it's dumb, doesn't understand you. I guess the one main benefit of Siri when it came out, which loads of other things didn't do, like Amazon Alexa, it can go and actually do things on your phone. So it can change a setting, it can go into an app, it can send a text message. Some of the other things understand you better, but can't actually do any of those things because they're not integrated. So hopefully now Siri's going to understand more. It can actually be more useful because it's going to go into the apps to be more useful. It's going to have on-screen awareness, so you can just say, can you add this number that someone texted me to my contacts? And then summarization and writing stuff for you, proofreading, that's all baked in at the system level. So that's going to work in every Microsoft app anyway if you're on an Apple device. without paying Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. You're going to be able to do this on an Apple device system-wide. So some of the things you have to pay for from Microsoft will actually be available for free. So some of the writing tools, rewriting, changing it into a different voice, some of these things that may or may not be out in Outlook in Copilot, even at the time of recording. I don't end up using the writing bit in Outlook, to be honest, but if that was something you were paying for, it's now can be free in Apple when this is released at the end of the year, usually September. But they did say it's rolling out over the next year, the AI bit, so who knows when it's actually going to come out. But I do like the ability to like replace this with key points, which isn't something that you can, is an option in Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365. You can summarize it, or you could probably like tell it to rewrite it as bullets, or jump it out into like a separate Copilot, copy it and say, right, rewrite this as bullets if it's not available directly in Outlook. Whereas Apple's just got it just straight in the right click menu. So that was really good to see, because that's mostly what you want to do. It's also then like getting smart replies, a lot smarter. So again, something that isn't in Outlook, but Microsoft could put in. So hopefully some things that they're gonna see and think that's useful and steal. Oro, being able to create your own emojis was pretty cool, rather than having some random Microsoft ones that they've done in Teams. And creating your pictures seemed to, you know, be a lot more intuitive and user-friendly, I guess is what Apple's good at, rather than just typing some text and it generating some random pictures that you could pick in a different app. Like all these are integrated into every app, because again, it's done at the system level. It did show being able to create pictures from your handwritten drawings, which Microsoft did show in, I think, Paint, but rather than, it just seemed a bit clunky and a bit more, you know, techy, that you would have like a type something that you want to see and then draw it at the same time, and it's helping you draw it, and Microsoft's demo, whereas Apple's one's like just draw it, circle it, it comes up with the thing that you're going to be used to because it's across every app, where you can say what it's supposed to be and then it draws you a picture for you and you can swipe through some options. Seemed like a lot more intuitive implementation of what, you know, the general gist of what they're all trying to do, and Microsoft implemented. So one of the other things it showed was or very quick transcription from voice notes, which you can do directly in Notes, which again is really useful, that Microsoft could have put in OneNote, which they haven't, and then summarization of that transcript. They also showed that you can do it in the phone app. So if you're on a phone call, you can record the phone call, have that transcript and summarization, and have that straight away. If you can interrogate that like you can in Teams, then that might be a replacement for Copilot if you're just using it in Teams, assuming that they then make it work for FaceTime, or, you know, the FaceTime sort of app that pops up at the top of a Mac when you're on a Teams call. If you can do that from there, that might save you the 30 quid a month from Microsoft. But yeah, I thought Apple's event was good. Seemed like they're wrapping stuff into their ecosystem a lot better than Microsoft can do. I thought it was pretty impressive and more useful than most AI things that have come out. OpenAI's demo was still way ahead from what both Microsoft and Apple have shown. But given that they're both sort of now partnering with OpenAI, I'm assuming we'll all get access to all of the good stuff that's probably going to take all of our jobs away, and the AI overlords will rule us all at some point. But yeah, some things in Apple that I think hopefully will help Microsoft see what they could do in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem if they choose to do so. Some things that you'll be able to get for free if you've got an Apple device, even if you're using Microsoft services, such as the transcription and stuff, and the summarization in emails and notifications. And yeah, let me know what you think. Are you excited about seeing Apple at work? Do you think it's going to help you into Microsoft land, getting this on your Apple device? Let me know if you're allowed Apple devices at your work. Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see any more videos, any suggestions, I do take suggestions from viewers. Leave those in the comments below. More than happy to do a video on whatever you want, or if you've got any other questions. But if you like the video before you leave, remember to give it a thumbs up. It really helps us in the algorithm. It's the easiest thing you can help this channel to do if you like the video, and if you really like the channel, you can get early access to questions in the comments, you can get early access to videos, or you can get the Meetup Mastermind, where you get access to some previously sold trainings for a lot more money for a low monthly fee, as well as live access to me for Q&A on a live Teams call once a week when I'm available. If that's interesting to you, click the join button below this video. And if you want to know what we can do for your entire organization, you should come in, run some workshops, see how people are working together, and recommend some ways you could work better, predominantly in the Microsoft ecosystem, but where that's not the right thing, we recommend some other things as well. If that's interesting to you, book a call using the link in the description below to find out more about how we might be able to work together. Well, thanks for watching so far, and I'll see you in the next one.